I've heard a lot of like kind of crazy stories about the tour life and especially
As a rock star, as
yeah,
you
I
are.
Really?
mean, yeah, the kind of the rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like, was it as uh, was it as kind of hedonistic, if you will, as people say?
Well, on the record, I'll tell you that every story you've ever heard about rock and roll life on tour is true,
Wow.
at least potentially true. Not in everybody's case, and not always in our case. But it's just I say it like this: it's the only job where you show up, and back then anyway, you show up, and there's a bunch of booze waiting for you, and there's a bunch of people that want to hang out and party with you, and they want to buy stuff for you and take you places and lead you into new experiences. And then, you know, you wind up doing that, and then you go to the next town, and it's exactly the same thing. And so this becomes like a way of life for you, and this just becomes how you operate and how you walk around. So it
Were you
becomes normal.
were you ever tired of that lifestyle, or did you always enjoy it?
Uh, at the time, it became exhausting after a while. Like you can only party so much. Like there is a ceiling on when. Um, but yeah, like towards the end, I think we were all pretty exhausted. I mean, we just some history. We were together from 1993 to 2002, and then we got back together in 2012. Um, and since we got back together, it's been fantastic because most of us are sober and most of us are, older and wiser, and we know how to operate. And the shows are, I would say, better than ever. But in that first 9 or 10 years, it was yeah, we had a great time. It was awesome. It was a way of life. We weren't really thinking about anything. It was like sort of like just a more or less a constant party, and that'll get to anybody after a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's some of the some of the stories like that I've heard are pretty well. Actually, I'm curious because I saw that you were a big David Bowie fan.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, is that
I
still true?
yeah, sure. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, like, how did you know that?
Oh, read it in oh,
Don't,
actually.
don't worry about it.
We'll keep our sources to our.
Your
I better
friends and
turn
family are not safe from us.
Yeah.
I better turn my location services off.
uh,
All right, sorry, continue.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah. So one story that I had heard about David Bowie, that was absolutely shocking to me was that there was a period of time, I believe, when he was, oh, I can't remember where he was living. I think it might have been in Germany, or maybe it was in the UK,
Mhm.
where he was living off of cocaine, milk, and green peppers. Have you
Weird
have you ever
choice.
have you ever heard anything about this?
This is the first time I've heard about that combination of things. Um, yeah, that's an interesting choice. That's very specific.
Yeah. see,
The
see the
milk, the milk, I understand,
yeah.
because it would be soothing. Green peppers. Wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
well, and it was one of my high school friends was a huge Bowie fan, and he told me about that,
Yeah,
and I was always kind of like, that is so bizarre, like,
yeah,
and well, the thing is too, like, there was a period where he lost a ton of weight, and
yes,
and I'm just wondering, I mean, like that. I mean, if all you're living on is green peppers and cocaine
yeah.
with some milk,
Drugs will do that to you.
yeah, I was like, that could have been it. But out of curiosity, what about David Bowie really stands out to you, in terms of both a performer, and just a musician in general?
I always liked Bowie just because, well, two reasons really. He was supernatural in the way that, I don't mean supernatural, I mean incredibly natural. Uh, in that he would go into the studio, he would do two or three takes of a song. If it wasn't happening, he'd just move on. It's like, it's not happening. Let's do it tomorrow or whatever. He didn't really like labor over every little point. It had to have the vibe. If it didn't have the vibe, it was like, So I learned that. The other thing I liked is how he would create these entire personas, completely fleshed out personalities, and then ditch them after 3 or 4 years and create another one. I was like, wow, it's so brave, like what confidence to think I can make this thing. It's super popular. I'll do a record or two as this person, and then I'm just going to start all over again as something else, instead of just relying on the same old thing. So that taught me to be, not afraid to be different or to try stuff. There's always another move you can make, down the road.
Yeah, totally. Do you have a favorite persona of his?
Uh, no, not really.
Oh.
Not really. I don't. Yeah, I don't really think of it that way. It's just like the guy he was just really good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know my friend in high school, his favorite was Ziggy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a lot of people's, and I think it's probably his most popular with everybody. But I didn't view it that way. I just sort of saw it as songs and eras and stuff. I don't really have a favorite. It's just an impressive artist.